Hi, my name is Anderson. I'm a Wharton MBA student of WG18. We're here to have an interview with Dean Garrett. So good afternoon, Dean Garrett. So thanks for being here. We often see you on interviews on television or on media report or on the summit forum from yesterday. So I believe this is a rare occasion, rare opportunity for us to have this personal and direct conversation. So thank you very much.
It's a real pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, thank you. So Wharton is a diverse and inclusive community. Each year, scores of Chinese students will enter Wharton, receive education, graduate, and contribute to society. And I believe the Chinese community here at Wharton is growing bigger. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean to you personally?
Well, as I think you know, U.S.-China in general is an incredible interest of mine. Obviously, it's the most important relationship in the world because these are the two most important countries in the world. If I start at the macro, what I see in U.S.-China is with big changes in leadership over a 40-year period, there's been incredible continuity in the U.S.-China relationship. And if I had to describe the continuity, it's engagement, more engagement all the time. Now, we tend to think about that in terms of economics, trade, and investment, but I actually think the people-to-people engagement is at least as important. Mm-hmm. So for us, having Chinese students on campus for the Wharton School is incredibly important. But equally important for me, actually, is having the school in China, which is why I'm such a big supporter of the Penn Wharton China Center, for example. So, yes, U.S.-China is all about engagement. People-to-people is the most important thing. Having fantastic Chinese students here is incredibly important to us. Having a presence in China, very important. And the last thing that I always say, I introduced an executive education session this morning for a group of Chinese investors. I still hope that there's something that Wharton has to offer our students, but I know equally we've got a lot to learn. So for me, engagement is always the key term.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. So if I can ask you to pick 3 words to describe your personal impression to the Chinese community, what 3 words would you use and why is that?
Hardworking, dynamic, culture. And if I go with the word that matters most to me, actually it's culture. I've been thinking a lot about this because I've been hosting a bunch of dinners recently. And when I think about dinner, I wish we could take the Chinese model of meals and move it to the West. So you think about a Western meal, it tends to be on long, narrow tables, and you only get to talk to the person who's sitting next to you, maybe on both sides. The Chinese table is so inclusive. You used that word before. It's so inclusive. It's a round table. I can point to everybody. It includes people in the conversation. You don't just eat the food and leave. You eat over an extended period, which prolongs our interaction. And then the last thing that I really enjoy is what I'm going to call the bilateral toast. So you and I are sitting across the table, and we've been part of this big conversation. But then if you and I want to do something private together, I can go over, acknowledge you. We can step back from the table, have our private meeting, and then come back to the table. So Chinese culture, I love eating Chinese food because I love the food, but I think the cultural aspect that I've learned has been at least as important to me.
The Greater China community have an increasingly stronger presence at Wharton, so the Chinese students are actively involved both academically and also socially. Can I show you a couple pictures of our amazing student leaders?
Sure, of course.
Thank you. So if you have seen many photos of our follies or dance studios, most of those pictures come from our photographer, Cindy Liu.
Yeah.
She is going to be the WGA VP of San Francisco campus next year.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And Ken Wu is our Ford Fellow.
Mm-hmm.
Linda Xu. She helped organize the Wharton Charity Fashion Show to raise funds for Youth Child charity campaign.
Yes, a wonderful event.
Yeah, and she is also the co-president of Wharton Women in Business, one of the largest student clubs at Wharton here.
Yeah, I've been to that conference, which is an incredible conference.
Wow, thank you for the support. And Stanley, he is the director of training for the investment investment management club, providing training to the first-year students. So we have many more student leaders here. I'm going to leave this deck for you. So we have quite a dynamic and impactful community. So given what the Chinese students have done, so what do you think of this community has done for Wharton so far?
It actually is extraordinary. And if you think about international students on campus, Wharton is no different from many other elite educational institutions in that we have an increasing number of international students. And then there's a question about language and cultural barriers and inclusion, as you've mentioned. So think about a place like Wharton, you know this. We have a lot of Indian students on campus. Yes. And the Indian students, I think, naturally tend to integrate, to be part of leadership because there's no language barrier for them. For the Chinese students, but real Chinese students coming from the mainland, obviously culture is very different, but there tends to be a language barrier. So I think the fact that Chinese students have been so proactive in taking a leadership role is just incredible because there are many reasons why that wouldn't happen. The fact that it does happen is really a testament to all of you.
Thank you very much for the nice comment. So looking forward, what kind of expectation do you have for the graduating students of class 2017?
Well, I've actually been thinking a little bit about the remarks that I will give the graduating students, and I think I would actually underline a word that you've used already, which is impact. If you think about what we do on campuses, we really are ideas incubators. But I'm thinking about a real buzz term today, which is innovation, and I think it was The Economist that said that the definition of successful innovation is it changes something on the ground. So when I think about Wharton, I would like it to be a place where we incubate really good ideas, but our students have even more impact in the world. And that should literally be in the world. It doesn't have to be in Philadelphia or in the US. It can be globally. So what I would say to our graduating students is, of course, congratulations on all you've achieved, but go out there into the world. Use your education to make a real difference because that's what the world needs. We're in desperate need, I think, now of leadership. We need more growth. We need more inclusive growth. I'm sure that all the graduating students are committed to those things, and I want you to know that it really matters to me and to us, and it matters to society.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the support to the Chinese students. Can I ask you to share a personally favorite moment or a favorite trip to China?
Favorite trip to China? I travel so often. I'll just tell you something from my last trip to China. I always say that I learn something new. No matter how often I go, I learn something new. So on my last trip, I was in Shenzhen. And I'd been there several times before, beginning maybe 4 or 5 years ago, because there's Peking University has a business school in Shenzhen, HSBC Peking University Business School. So I visited them. I visited them this time, but I was also taken to this new development, and the pronunciation is always hard for me. It's Qian, Qianhai. I thought it was Shanghai, but it's Qianhai. Qianhai. Yes. So, Chinese infrastructure is just extraordinary. But if you think about the scale of that, which is going to be, I think it's going to house 600,000 people on land which is just infill into the bay, and it's going to be built in 5 years. That's simply extraordinary. I spend a lot of time in New York. The west side of Manhattan now, there's a development there happening called Hudson Yards, and a Wharton guy is the president of Related, the big real estate industry, the company that's building Hudson Yards. I think Qianhai is like 20 times as big as Hudson Yards, and it's going to be built in half the time. So the quality the pace, the dynamism of Chinese cities we all know about. Shenzhen was a fishing village in 1986. Now it's a megalopolis. But the fact that that development is still going, and if anything, speeding up, is just incredible. So as I said, that might not be my favorite memory of China, but it's my most recent one. And again, it showed me that no matter how much I think I know about the country, I'm always going to be surprised.
Can I, since you just read some Chinese characters, can I teach you a couple more characters here?
Sure, of course.
Thank you. So these three characters, it's called 常回来. Please come back frequently to visit us. So 常回来. Yes. So I believe for the graduating students, that will be a common wish for them to feel welcome to come back to Wharton. And
to the graduating students of 2017, 常回来.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So I think most people are just like me, didn't know that you have a WeChat account, personal account. So WeChat is considered a very personal and very intimate channel of communicating your life moments. So I realized that you have not posted any WeChat moments in your account.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a picture together and?
Of course, that's very interesting. I think I told you that I use WeChat for all of my business work in China. It's just much easier for me than using text messages or email. And with Chinese people, you have to use your Weixin account. You can't just see. You can't use those other modes. So I hadn't thought about it in the personal sense, but I would be pleased to do that. You might have seen that I actually changed my photograph from the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which is very personal to me in my native Australia, to my Chinese name, because one of my colleagues, Sam Lundquist, has done that. But it would be a nice idea for me to put some more personal things on there. It's a very important business tool for me, but let's add to that.
That's great. Shall we take a selfie, and I will teach you how to post a personal moment.
That would be great.
Thank you. I'll come to your place.
Thank you. My phone, so you'll have to send me this photograph too. Now, whose phone are you using? You're not using an Apple phone.
This is a Huawei phone.
It is a Huawei phone. I love it.
Huawei phone.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much.
And you'll send that to me on my WeChat, and then I can capture it.
Yes, will do. And I'll teach you how to post that.
Fantastic.